find basis and dimension of kernel of T. Find basis and dimension of kernel of T, range of T, and verify the dimension theorem. Okay, verify the dimension theorem. So here T is a linear transformation, that is quite obvious, because of you can see all the coordinates w1, w2, w3, all the coordinates are linear. First of all, if you want to check that the given transformation is linear or not in Rn to Rm, if our transformation is from Rn to Rm, and if you want to check that the given transformation is linear or not, what we have to do, directly you can check that the given transformation, given Euclidean transformation is linear or not. For that you just need to prove, or you just need to check that the all the coordinates, right, like in the codomain w1, w2, w3 must be linear. If all the coordinates in the codomain in the definition of T are linear, then directly you can say that the given transformation is linear. And as suppose the transformation is linear, definitely you can write down the standard matrix for the given linear transformation. So here we write down the standard matrix, and using that standard matrix we can find the basis and dimension for the kernel of T and range of T. Okay, so let's see. Here T is a linear transformation, hence the standard matrix for the given linear transformation is with this notation in the box T, that means the standard matrix of the transformation T, that is equal to, now what is this first row? Try to understand, this first row is the coming from the first coordinate in which the coefficient of x1, x2, x3, x4. Now what is the coefficient of x1, x2, x3, x4 in the first coordinate? This is our first coordinate, right? What is the coefficient of x1, x2, x3, x4? 4, 1, minus 2, minus 3. 4, 1, minus 2, minus 3. Okay. So this first row is coming from the first coordinate. Now the second row is coming from the second coordinate, that is 2x1 plus x2 plus x3 minus 4x4. So here we write 2, 1, 1 and minus 4. Okay. Now the third row is coming from the third coordinate, 6, 0, minus 9, 9. Okay. Now this matrix is in size of 3 cross 4 because of our transformation is coming is from R4 to R3. So in general, if your transformation T from Rn to Rm, which is a linear transformation, then your standard matrix is in size of m cross n. Okay, your standard matrix is in size of m cross n. So here the same situation happen here. Our transformation is from R4 to R3, and this is our standard matrix, which is in size of 3 cross 4. Okay. Now here we use one important theorems. Also we know that this is a theorem, this is a statement of theorem, that null space of T, this standard matrix T, is exactly the kernel of T. Here we use this theorem, and the column space of the standard matrix T is range of T. Okay. So here we use this important theorem. We want to find the basis and dimension for the kernel of T and range of T, and for that we use null space. We actually find the null space of this standard matrix and the column space of this standard matrix, right? And that is exactly our kernel of T and range of T correspondingly, right, respectively. So let's see, this is our standard matrix, right? 4, 1, minus 2, minus 3, 2, 1, 1, minus 4, 6, 0, minus 9, 9. Okay. Now the first one, just we simply we interchange the first and second row. The next process is just we interchange the first and second row. Okay. Now first of all we have to convert this matrix into a row echelon form. Okay. this matrix into a row echelon form. So using that row echelon form, we can find the null space of the given matrix, right, and column space of the given matrix. So now when we interchange the first and second row, the first row become 2 1 1 minus 4 and the second row become 4 1 minus 2 minus 3. So first of all, try to understand what is the meaning of row echelon form. There are some conditions which have to be followed to become a row echelon form. So first of all, try to understand what is leading entry. Now what is our leading entry? The first non-zero element in any row, that is our leading entry, right? The first non-zero row in any element, that is our any row, that is our leading entry. Now below that leading entry all the elements should be 0, right? Below that leading entry all the elements should be 0. That is our first condition. Next condition is whenever we are going from above to below, your leading entry is going from left to right, right, row wise. Whenever we are going from above to below, so in that case our leading entry is going from left to right, right. That is the second conditions which have to be followed. And the third condition is if there is any 0 row, that means if any row contains entirely 0 element, then it should be the bottom of the matrix, it should be the bottom of the matrix, if suppose, right. So if these three conditions are satisfied for any matrix, then we can say that that given matrix is in row echelon form, and using that row echelon form we can easily find the null space of the given matrix and column space and all that, right. So first of all, our target is to convert the given matrix into a row echelon form. So here is the first process, we interchanging the first and second row. So the first row become 2 1 1 minus 4, the second row become 4 1 minus 2 minus 3, okay, and the third row is 6 0 minus 9 9 as it is. Now the second row, now the first row, next process is we multiply first row with minus 2 and add into the second row, and we multiply the first row with minus 3 and add into the third row. So the first row is as it is 2 1 1 minus 4, second row is 0 1, you can see, you can understand from this, 1 minus 2 that is minus 1, minus 2 minus 2 that is minus 4, and minus 3 plus 8 that is 5, okay, minus 3 minus 4 into minus 2, so that is minus 3 plus 8 that is 5. Next is 6 minus 6, we get 0 because we multiply first row with minus 3 and add into the third row. So that is why we get 6 minus 6, that is 0, 0 minus 3 that is minus 3, minus 9 minus 3 that is minus 12, and 9 minus 4 into minus 3 that is 9 plus 12 that is 21, okay. So now see, this is our leading entry in first row, below that leading entry we have 0 now. Now in second row this is our leading entry, minus 1 is now our leading entry. So that is why that the next process is below that leading entry we want 0 here. So that is why the next process is we multiply second row with minus 3 and add into the third row. So that is why here we make 0, right. So the first row is as it is 2 1 1 minus 4, the second row is also as it is 0 minus 1 minus 4 5. So we multiply second row with minus 3 and add into the third row. So the third row becomes 0, minus 3 plus 3 0, minus 12, minus 4 into minus 3, so that is 0, and then 21 minus 15, right, 5 into 3, so that is 6, okay. So the third row becomes 0 0 0 6. Now this is in row echelon form. This is our leading entry, below that leading entry we have 0, in second row this is our leading entry, below that leading entry we now 0, right. So using this row echelon form matrix we can find the null space of a matrix. The last matrix is in row echelon form. So first we find the null space of the standard matrix T, and that is we have coming from this first row, that is 2x1 plus x2 plus x3 minus 4x4, that is equal to 0. Then from second row, minus x2 minus 4x3 plus 5x4 equal to 0. And then from the last row we get 6x4 equal to 0. Hence x3. Now in which column we don't have leading entry? First column we have leading entry, the second column we have leading entry, and the fourth column we have leading entry. Right. So the first column we have leading entry, second column we have leading entry, fourth column we have leading entry. Only the third column we don't have leading entry, and third column is for x3. So that's why we take x3 is equal to t. So x2 is equal to minus 4t from this equation. x2 is equal to, because of x4 is equal to 0, right? x4 is 0, x3 is t. So put this value in this equation. x2 is equal to minus 4t minus 5 into 0, so minus 4t. x2 is equal to minus 40, and x1 is equal to what? Put all the value in this first equation. So you get 2x1, that is equal to minus x2, so that is 4t, minus x3, that is t. So 4t minus t, that is 3t. So 2x1 is equal to 3t. So that's why x1 is equal to 3t by 2. Okay. So the null space of T, the null space of the standard matrix T is 3 by 2 minus 4 1 0. In set theoretically we can write in this manner: in set 3 by 2 minus 4 1 0 into T, where T belongs to R. Okay. So the basis of the kernel of T, right, and kernel of T is exactly this set, and the basis, if you want to find, if you want to write down the basis of the kernel of T, that is equal to 3 by 2 minus 4 1 0. Okay, 3 by 2 minus 4 1 0 is the basis of the kernel of T, and we get only one basis. So that's why dimension of kernel of T, that is equal to 1. Dimension of kernel of T, that is equal to 1. Okay. Now next we want to find the column space, or in other words range of T. Okay, range of T. So and the basis for the column space of T, in which column we have leading entry? First, second and fourth column we have leading entry. So the corresponding to first, second and fourth column in the given standard matrix T, this is our basis for the column space of A, column space of T, that is 4 2 6 1 1 0 and minus 3 minus 4 9, right? 4 2 0 4 2 6 1 1 0 and minus 3 minus 4 9, and the basis for the column space of T, that is equal to 4 2 6 1 1 0 and minus 3 minus 4 9. Since in row echelon form matrix 1 2 and 4th column we have leading entry, so these are exactly 1 2 and 4th column vectors of A. A means the standard matrix T. Okay. Now also we want to verify the dimension theorem. Now what is the dimension theorem or rank nullity theorem? What is our dimension theorem? That is the nullity plus rank, that is equal to the number of column. Now what is the nullity? That is a dimension of null space, that is 1, right? Clearly nullity is 1. What is the rank? Rank means how many non-zero row in row echelon form matrix. We know that 3 non-zero row in row echelon matrix. So 1 plus 3, that is equal to 4, and that is exactly the number of column of the given matrix A, given standard matrix, right. So clearly the dimension theorem is verified and it's quite easy to verify. Okay. So here the complete the solution of this question. Next question. Find the projection of u, that is equal to 1 minus 2 3 along v is equal to 1 to 1 in R3. So the projection of v, how we define, that is equal to inner product uv upon norm u square into u. So inner product uv, that is equal to 1 minus 4 plus 3, that is equal to 0. So the inner product uv is equal to 0, that is exactly the dot product of u with v, that is 1 into 1 1, minus 2 into 2 minus 4, plus 3 into 1 plus 3, that is equal to 0. So the projection of v with u, that is equal to 0. Because of this inner product uv, we get 0. Okay, so this is quite simple question asking 1 or 2 marks. The next question, question 4e. Let S and T both are linear transformation and coming from R2 to R2, given by the formulas T of xy is equal to x plus y, x minus y. Here the first transformation we define T of xy is equal to x plus y, x minus y. S of xy is equal to 2x plus y, x minus 2y. Show that S and T are 1 1. Here we need to check this 3 questions, sub questions, that show that first of all S and T are 1 1. Second one is find formula for T inverse xy, S inverse xy and SOT inverse xy. Third is verify that SOT inverse, that is equal to T inverse S inverse. So in all this for in one question we need to check 3 questions, right. First of all we want to prove that S and T are 1 1. Then next is we prove that we find that the formula for T inverse xy and S inverse xy, SOT inverse xy, that is a composition of S and T, and then we want to find the inverse of that composition, and also we want to verify that the composition of this two transformation, that inverse of composition of this